Well, the vaccine race is on. The UK has now authorized the use of the Pfizer vaccine. They'll start administering doses as early as this week. The US claims it will authorize the same vaccine very soon and will begin vaccinating millions of Americans before the end of the month. That, of course, has raised expectations for Canada. When will Canada get its first doses? Now, before we get to the griping, some gratitude to the scientists who got us here. That's in order. 6 months ago, there was a real worry there would never be a vaccine, let alone 3 or 4 that are 95% effective. So this is great news overall. Still, there are legitimate questions for governments in this country to answer. Health Canada says it will also likely authorize the Pfizer vaccine in December, but the first doses will not likely arrive until January. Why is there a delay here? And the first vaccinations might not be made until mid-January, more than a month after the UK. So what's the holdup? There are lots of questions about how many doses will actually arrive, when they arrive, and how they'll be administered. And time matters. Every day means lives lost and businesses suffering. So let's try to get some answers. Joining me now is the man in charge of the federal government's rollout plan, Major General Dany Fortin. Major General Fortin, first of all, it is a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for your service to our country, and you got a big mission ahead. Let's start with the question most Canadians have. When do you expect to actually have the vaccines ready for delivery and distribution? Could they arrive as early as December?
So we're planning on receiving vaccines early in the new year. We're planning on January onwards. It would not be prudent military planning on our part, to take us close to that date. So we're really planning on being ready by mid-December. A series of exercises, a series of a dry run in provinces, all of those things will take place, have begun, and the dry runs will be executed next week. And we're planning against early January rollout.
Early January rollout. What are the biggest logistical challenge you'll have when it comes to Pfizer? As we know, their vaccine has to be delivered at -80 storage. So what are the biggest logistical challenges you'll face?
Yeah, it's certainly an unprecedented situation. And this vaccine, like a few others, they have unique characteristics. And we'll learn more as we go about those different vaccines in terms of handling them. But really, this vaccine from Pfizer is the first one that we expect to see. As soon as regulatory approval is provided and that vaccines become available in country, they will be distributed. Pfizer does the actual distribution to the points of use that have been identified with provinces. So far, initial ones have been identified in every province. We will execute a dry run next week, and then as they roll out, we'll start with those and then progressively add with the provinces, in this case, add to the number, and then follow-on movement as we become more familiar with the process.
On that one, who's providing the ultra cold storage refreezers? I know Canada's purchased some. Mm-hmm. Does Pfizer have them? And then, because it's a double dose, will the provinces have a central location that the military will be at and people will have to come to it? Because it seems that won't be a very portable vaccine.
So two things. Ultra-low temperature freezers exist in country already in some university hospitals and research centers and what have you. Additional ones, based on the needs of the provinces and territories, have been purchased for both the ultra-low temperature and frozen for the next wave of vaccine candidates. And so those are being distributed, and they're being installed and certified. And as the vaccine comes in, they will trickle in. There will be large amounts, but what we expect to see in January is constant flow of vaccines that come in, Pfizer and others as well as they become available. So they will be distributed, and then the next wave comes in for, the next delivery comes in for the second dose in a prescribed time frame.
Okay, that's fascinating, and I think that's something Canadians really want to hear. So, when we talk about these 6 million doses for 3 million people, they're coming in not all at once, but trickling in over time throughout that 3-month period. Obviously, Canadians are wanting to know, because it's a significant difference to get them in January or March. I would love to know if you have any numbers on that, and based on your planning exercises, how long from delivery, when you guys get them, to needles in the arm? Because the U.S. is saying they can start delivering and vaccinating within 48 hours.
So I don't have all the specifics of the handling. So we know of a number of specifics. The health professionals are better placed than me in terms of what that means. My job and what the team here is really focused on delivering and bringing that to a point of use or point of administration in the case of the other vaccine candidates. But there are a number of steps, as you can imagine, with the minus 80 vaccines, where they have to be thawed, they have to be decanted, they have to be mixed, and then there's a certain period of time when in cold storage, they can only last so many days in cold storage. So there are very peculiar requirements, and we're paying close attention to those peculiar requirements to avoid wastage.
Have you, I'm going to just, Major General, the question that everyone, every single person is probably asking you this. Do you have a date circled as to when you think the first Canadian will actually get a vaccine?
All I can tell you at this time, though, we expect to receive them in January, and we expect to receive them as soon as possible. In that time frame, and in successive amounts, or multiple deliveries.
Right.
With predictability.
And then there'll be a lag, so the lag between when you get it and when that first vaccination, when. Canadians would love to, other countries like Australia have the plans about where, when, they're booking dates. Canada hasn't done that. Is that going to be coming soon so Canadians at least can manage their expectations?
We're very much paying attention to that and sharing a lot of information, receiving and sharing information among the practitioners. And as part of the dry run next week and the learning that has to take place, the end state of next week, and by the 14th, of course, is the first sites are ready, the first points of use are ready for Pfizer, but also the healthcare professionals are familiar, are comfortable with the process, and are ready when vaccines are ready.
All right. Thank you, Major General